G'day all and welcome to Dog Shadow Gaming, the channel where we live to game and game to live. As always, I'm Belth and today I have some exciting news about a new Warhammer IP strategy game coming to PC later this year, dropping early access in Steam. This is set in the Warhammer Age of Sigmar IP, and I think it's a first for its kind on PC, which is really interesting. Now, they haven't released a lot. There's only just a short clip and then some information on Steam, so we'll go through all that. I want to have a look at the board game that it is actually an adaptation of, look at its setting and some of its rules and how it plays, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat about how that might convert into what we're about to get. All right, all that and more right after this. Okay, so that's the only clip we have received from Steel Sky Productions, the developers of this Age of Sigmar board game adaptation. What I thought I would do first, guys, is talk a little bit about the setting itself and then go into what the information we have, and then we can extrapolate a little bit on what we think might come from that. So what I was going to do is going to show you some clips from the Warhammer website itself on the board game, and show you a little bit about the game and what the setting is. So let's watch a clip on the setting right now.
Welcome, traveler, to the mirrored city of Shadespire. We thought our torments in this shadowed place, where the blessed release of death is forever denied to us, could grow no crueler. We were wrong. The Night Vault, the prison where we sought to hide our darkest secrets, is open. From its spill horrors not seen for eons, spectral legions of invaders we once thought vanquished forever. And still the Seekers come. They hunt for dark and forbidden lore. They rampage and reave for their dark gods, or just for the joy of battle. They pursue vengeance or thirst for profit. But there is no hope here for the living. The Night Vault has opened.
Shadespire was once a city of wonder and magic, a mercantile metropolis rising from the unforgiving earth of the realm of death. Countless races dwelt within its walls, together creating artifacts of astonishing beauty and power. The city's most treasured secret was the process of refining shade glass, a miraculous substance that could store the spiritual essence of the dead for eternity. In this way, the ruling Cataphrans of Shadespire lived on after death, their wisdom stored within the depths of ornate mirrors, flowing glass fountains, and crystal-looking stones, and other marvels. This defiance enraged Nagash, Lord of Undeath, who sought to punish the occupants of the city for denying him his rightful tithe of souls. Yet to simply destroy the city and drag its inhabitants to the underworld seemed to Nagash an insufficient punishment. Instead, the great necromancer wove a ritual that drew upon the mysterious powers of the city's shadeglass constructions, siphoning away the light and the glory of Shadespire and creating a twisted reflection of its former splendor. Shadespire was trapped halfway between Ulgul, realm of shadows, and Haish, realm of light. Bound within its dark reflection, refracted between these two diametrically opposed realms, the souls of the fallen could never escape the mirrored city and make the journey to the underworld. None within its walls would be granted the release of death. Nagash would forever deny them that gift. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that little narration. That's straight off the Warhammer website for the board game itself that we're getting the adaptation from. You can check it out, there will be links in the description below. I will leave links to all the pages, the Steam website page, the early access, the whole shebang. So do check all that out if you want a little bit more information from what I'm given here. Now, the game has been developed by Steel Sky Productions and is due to come into early access through Steam late this year, 2019. We are looking at getting an early beta with 2 of the warbands starting with, and then getting another free 2 warbands later in the early access. And then once the game is launched, we'll get DLC packs for extra warbands after that. The 2 factions, or 3 of the factions that I've been able to find some information on, look to be Sepulture's Guard, Garruk's Reavers, Iron Skull's Boys. Now these are all on the Warhammer website under the Night Vault, Warhammer Underworld, so you can go and check it out. They have actual descriptions of each of the 16 different warbands that make up the setting for the board game, and I do encourage you to go and have a look at that. You know, I would say for the 4th, we're probably looking at Stormsire's Cursebreakers, which are a Sigmarite type warband. Or there is another one that is called, one second while I pull it up here. Yeah, so Steel Heart's Champion. So my guess is we're going to get one of those, and that would give us a fairly good starting place to go from. Now, some of the other information that we have is that you can customize your warband. And that you can make it your own in a lot of different ways. Now, the game is based off a turn-based strategy game where you have dice and can roll. This is the board game itself that we're getting the adaptation from. It works on a hexagon-based system, a hexagon movement-based system with dice and then cards to buff and play out strategic objectives. So you have a deck of cards which you can build your own deck and build your different deck any way you like, adding a layer of tactical, I suppose, gameplay. Now, apparently it's going to be fairly close to the adaptation of the board game, which is pretty cool. So we can look at some of the board game mechanics and have a fairly good idea of what we're looking at. But going through the Steam page, we're looking at deck building as the heart of the Warhammer Underworlds Online. So that's what they're saying. Your 12-card objective deck will shape your tactical approach to a match, while your 20-card power deck is filled with clever gambits and powerful upgrades you'll need to win. Score glory points by both taking out the enemy fighters and fulfilling objectives in your deck. Each warband has access to a library of diverse universal cards and exclusive faction cards that highlight the particular strengths of your warband. Play, tweak, and improve, craft the ultimate strategy. So that sounds pretty cool. You got a bit of that RNG elements. You've got a bit of the deck building, which is, I'm not a huge fan of deck building. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not a huge card fan. Wasn't really a huge fan of how it was put into Space Hulk myself. I know there's a lot of people out there, especially from a younger generation, who like cards and deck building. It's not my thing, but it doesn't mean that it wrecks a game. It's just I prefer a little bit more literal approach to it. Going through this again, assembling your warband. Your warband is a group of fighters who are trapped together amongst the towering spires of the mirrored city of Shadespire and the haunted labyrinth corridors of the Night Vault that lays beneath. So you're getting both the original game and Night Vault. Night Vault is the second edition of Warhammer Underworlds. Warbands fighters are united by a common cause and goal. Each has a distinct combat style and character. There is no single path that guarantees victory. I do like how that's sounding. It means that there's multiple different ways you can achieve a victory, which makes it a lot more strategically fun to play, and you get a lot more replayability out of it. So that's sounding quite good. Make aggressive charges to take out enemy fighters. Use clever defensive positions to swarm your opponent, or craft shrewd objective decks and fulfill conditions that perfectly align with your strengths of your warband. So again, sounding quite good. You know, like from this point, this is what we have right now, and it is sounding very, very good. When we look through the community, how are you planning to involve community in your development process? We'll be operating a Discord server where players can gather to discuss the game and share their feedback. We will actively listen and do our best to incorporate feedback where possible. Now, I really like the sound of that. It's really good to hear that, and I'm hoping they do stick to that, which is really, really cool. that's kind of it. There's not a lot else on it, guys. If you look at the board game itself, or if you go on the Warhammer website, you can actually see they have full tutorials on how to play the game, the board game, which should give you a really, really good idea of how it's probably going to adapt into a PC version of the game. I won't go through it here because they're quite long. So if you want to go and check that out, go and look at it for yourself. On screen, you can obviously see some of the factions that we are going to get, and they are looking really, really cool. I've got to say, guys, as I said earlier, I haven't been a huge fan of Age of Sigmar just because there's not as much information on it. I'm a big fan of 40k and the original fantasy IP. So it is interesting to find these to sort of have a reason to get more into the lore here and find a little bit more about it. Whatever you think about how they ended the fantasy universe, I'm personally not a fan myself, but whatever, that doesn't really matter to me right now. What matters to me is that we're getting a new Warhammer game, and it's interesting, and it's something new. So that's really cool. But as always, guys, let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you think this is going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad? My hope here is that we don't get a adaptation mobile type game. Now, they're not saying that. They're saying, to be very clear, they're saying it's a PC only game at this point, which is, that's giving me some, at least, some good feelings towards this being a really good strategic game. But I'm just hoping, because when you look at the board game, you can kind of see, oh, this could be adapted into a mobile game pretty easily. And I'm hoping that's not the way they go. I hope they go with a deep strategy with lots and lots of customization. I want to see something more on the lines of a Mordheim City of the Dam, and I really don't want to see a mobile type game. So we'll see what we get, guys. We haven't got a lot to go on. I'm mostly taking what this is from the board game itself. We've only got a short clip and then what they've talked about on the Steam page. There are a couple of different GameSpot and bits and pieces that have said little bits here and there, so if you do have a little hunt, you can find a little bit more. But that's really it. It's deck building, it's turn-based, there's a hexagonal movement phase to it, and that's really the lot, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts again. As always, guys, if you've enjoyed this clip or this video, then please smash that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you're new around here, then do hit up the subscribe, because this is what the channel's about. We're all about Warhammer. It doesn't matter what kind of Warhammer PC game it is, that's what we're about. So I'll be bringing you, as soon as there's news on any new Warhammer game, we'll be putting it up on the channel. We'll be giving every game a go. So do check out the channel if you're new. If you've been around for a while and you want to help out the channel, then check out the links below, and you can help out for like $1 a month on my Patreon or PayPal. Totally up to you guys. Again, no stress. If you can't afford it, that's cool. Only if you can and you want to support. Outside of that, do leave a comment. As I said earlier, I'd love to hear from you guys and discuss. I'm a big Warhammer fan, and I love talking to anybody else who enjoys any of the IPs. That's probably it for me. Have a great day, guys, and I will catch you on the next video. See ya. Bye.